And hello, everybody.
Hi, welcome.
Once again, ladies and sisters, brothers and boys and girls, episode 173 of When the Kids Go to Sleep. Here we are. We're live. Are we live?
I guess so. Are we live?
I said we're going
I'm
live.
alive. I think. Pinch me.
Pinch me. It's not a dream, baby. Okay, you
We're
guys.
live.
Have we titled? Did we title it what we said we're going to title it? We're not going to fight.
Are you ready? We might. You never know.
Per se.
Throwing fists up in here. It could happen.
So I wanted to talk about. I don't want to talk about it actually.
You're like, never
I don't want to,
mind.
but I feel a sense of urgency of like responsibility. You know, I watched Casey Neistat's video, and while I didn't totally agree with everything he said and the way he said it, I have my own opinions about that. I love Elliot Morgan's video that he made about it, but it has made me feel conscious about it. And like, we're a generation of people that are loving Hamilton the musical, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not throwing away my shot. And that's what the musical's talking about. Like, if we all agree that we don't like this two-party system, if less than 10% of America voted in the primaries for Donald and Hillary, there's 320 million Americans. I don't know how many of those are registered voters or who are even eligible to vote, but only 32, less than 9%. I don't even know if that, that's why we have these two candidates, is less than 10% of America, decided on this. I think we need to really seriously talk about how do we get people to be able to vote on the internet? We got to figure that out. So it's like, I think about like Hamilton and like Alexander Hamilton, like, why can't we be in a renaissance? Why can't we change this? Why can't we say, we don't like this two-party system? It has caused so much hate and fighting because by the time that, it gets to your state to vote for the primaries, the only option is a guy that you don't agree with. Mm-hmm. And you want to like stay in your party. So it's like, it's either this way or this way. And then all of a sudden you got people fighting because they feel like they have to pick a side because it's either black or white. And then people all of a sudden start to overlook some of the weaknesses of their candidate just so that they can feel like they're right. And I'm saying it happens on both sides. And that's why I think a lot of intelligent people have said that this two-party system is not good and that we need to break it up and have a different democracy that is on the internet. Because like, think about this as far as like, I wonder, what would you say? And I would like to go to Twitter. If you guys were to guess in America, how many used Gmail accounts are there? And not even Gmail. You could use Yahoo or Hotmail. I don't know what email you're using. But how many like actual viable, not like spam emails, but like emails that people, use, they're emailing business friends. It's like their email. Like we all have our personal email.
Right.
How many of those are there, would you say?
Wow.
Anybody know?
I mean, including people that have multiple emails.
Because I think, why can't we vote online? It would be so easy. So many more people would do it. If all you had to do is like get online and click a thing.
Are they worried that it would be easier to rig it?
Yeah, I'm sure they are. But if you think about the vetting system of logging into your YouTube from a computer that it doesn't recognize, not only do you have to have your email and password, you have to have your cell phone tied to it. So all of a sudden you're getting a text from Google saying, here's your 6-digit code that you have to put into the computer to get in. That's a pretty rigorous vetting system for finding out if, who is this person. Now, could you have some sort of super PAC or some organization go and get, hundreds of emails and cell phones and link them?
Yes.
I guess. But in this digital age, why can't we figure out IP addresses? Why can't we just have an internet identity where it's like you can't do anything online without, is anonymity going to go away from the internet? Like, do we need to start to police it? Is the internet a place that we're going to be so much and so often that we can't risk, having people do things? There's always going to be hackers, but I just feel like we need to move voting to the internet because so many more people will do it. And I feel like there is a way to figure out without getting hacked and without it,
Yeah. I mean, it seems weird in a way that we're not there already, you know? Like, you would think
Right.
that we would all be
So I'm like,
voting that way.
Listen, if we're all on Facebook and Twitter and like, man, these two candidates are horrible, and if you spend just even 20 minutes and you have an unbiased approach to both of them, if you say, okay, I'm going to get on the internet and I'm going to say, what are all the allegations against Hillary Trump? And I'm not Hillary Trump.
Well, not even the allegations. What are their policies? Like, what are they?
Right, but not even allegations too, but like what have they actually said in interviews? You know, have you looked at the WikiLeaks thing? You know, obviously Donald Trump has said plenty to disqualify. I heard him disqualify himself to you the other day.
Oh, yeah.
We were watching CNN, and when Donald Trump's like, you know, if I was gonna sexually attack a girl, it wouldn't have been her.
He
or
didn't
however
say
he said
exactly
it.
that way, but he basically was like, she wouldn't have been my first choice. And that to me, I was like, oh, snap.
I just heard Colette in the background go, oh. I was like, oh, that pissed Colette off.
Like, whether he did it or didn't do it didn't matter to me. Like, the fact that he has no sensibility, no compassion, no softness to people that like have been through that.
that
Like,
have
how could
suffered
you?
to that scary thing.
How could you just say, oh, bleh.
Yeah.
I just wanted to slough it off.
So then I'm just like, man, and then you read the stuff about Hillary, like Benghazi, all this stuff, all the, you know, not only, to me, where there's smoke, there's fire. And I really strongly feel that within the next month, a lot more is going to come out about both candidates, Donald and Hillary, that is going to even be more damning, is going to be more like, we can't have these people as our president. Like, sure, is Hillary Clinton qualified? Definitely. I think she's qualified. But there's too much untruth. There's too much question to say, but is she qualified to be the president, have the number one job? Out of 320 million people, is she the one person? And I'm all about breaking the glass ceiling. I would love for a woman president. Mm-hmm. I totally would. I was like, why doesn't Michelle Obama run?
Right.
I would even like Michelle Obama to be the next president. Anyways, that's not going to happen. So I started looking at another guy. You know, there's third-party candidates, and I'm not here to say who you should vote for, but if we're going to be newsy here on When the Kids Go to Sleep, there is a third person, the third most likely person to be the next president of the United States, and that's statistically a fact in Utah, is Evan McMullen, because he is polling right now, I'll get on my Facebook, he's polling right now at 30%, almost in a dead tie with Donald Trump, which
In Utah, right?
in Utah, which is always, you can switch to the screen here, Blake, always a Republican, you know, as a red state. Mitt Romney, George Bush, everybody takes Utah. And for Trump to be the Republican nominee and to be tied with an independent, an unknown independent who only started a month or two ago, that's groundbreaking news. It's history-making news. If Evan McMullen wins Utah, he gets those 6 electoral votes, which would then block Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton from receiving the required 270 votes to become the next president. So in that case, according to the Constitution, then the vote goes to the House of Representatives, I believe, and they vote out of Donald, Hillary, and Evan, who's the next president. So there is a scenario where even though this dude isn't on every ballot, you know, and on every state, he could, and according to these polls, will win the state of Utah and cause this block of the Electoral College for Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, and it'll go to the House, where he just was like one of the policy leaders. And so they know this guy and like him. The dude's basically a Mormon James Bond. He's a CIA operative that worked in the CIA for 10 years, was asked point blank by one of like the biggest media guys out there, Donnie Deutsch, how many people have you killed? Because this guy is like the Tom Cruise. He's like the go over and find this bad guy and either convince him to be on our side or kill him. You know, I'm not saying that's exactly what he said, but you go watch some of the interviews he's done. In one of the last interviews that I tweeted about him, you know, he's came out. One of the things that really got me is he said, this country has trusted me with some of its deepest secrets. And I've served at the top levels of, you know, so it's like this guy, when it comes, if you're concerned about national security, this is your guy. This is the guy that they would send to actually do the job, when he was in the CIA. So if
So
you're
it
like,
could happen. I mean, what you're talking about with, as a country, like we still have the power. We need to realize that we still have the power to decide, and it doesn't have to be one or the other.
that's why I
That's what I
hate
think.
the argument of, well, you just have to choose the lesser of two evils. Because aren't you still just choosing evil? Just a little bit less of it? Like, drink this poison or drink this poison. And you're like, oh, which glass has less poison? This one has less poison.
You're still
I'd be
gonna
like, no,
die.
I don't want any poison. 0 poison, please. So I'm just like, why can't we say, hey, wow, only 9% of Americans even asked for Donald and Hillary to be the candidates, and there's 91% of people who haven't let their voice be heard? Why not look at a different person? And why is it too late? People are like, it's too late, it's too late. We have the internet. Have you heard of things going viral? Dude, tell me that Ken Bone wasn't going to be the most beloved person in the entire world a week ago. You know what I'm saying? Like in the debate, this Ken Bone guy,
yeah.
he's got a sweater.
With the red
Everybody in the
sweater
world
and
knows
yep.
who this guy is now. Like,
So weird.
it wouldn't be hard to spread this message really quickly. And I think Evan McMullen has a good one. I'm not saying that you should vote for him just because I'm saying so, but you should go watch some interviews he's done. He's out there, he's doing live town halls, he's meeting with people, and it's cool. I think if we're like, hey, listen, this two-party system isn't working and it's caused all this fighting, obviously to me, the news media's got to go.
Oh, goodness. They're
It's
not
such,
helping.
you guys, it's so based off of money. It's like the oligarchs of the media empires that are kind of controlling the agenda.
what?
I don't know. That's a word for like old rich dudes that are
I've
evil.
never heard that word.
I don't even know if it's a word, but I think it goes with the tone that I'm trying to set here in the conversation I'm having.
It's a tone word, guys.
What's an oligarch?
I have no idea. When you said it, I thought of the orcs on Lord of the Rings.
Well, so that's exactly what I was going
That's
for.
what came in my mind. I'm like, wait, what?
Imagine one of those guys. That's the guy that's in charge of Fox News. Boobs.
What?
I don't know.
Is that what they say on Fox News?
Haven't you been watching?
Oh my gosh.
So, let's
I
tear
mean,
down this
Trump's
two-party
probably said
system.
that, but I don't
Sing it with
know.
me, Hamilton. I'm not throwing away my shot. I'm not throwing away my shot. If not now, when? If we're not, like, if we are, and it seems like, according to my reading of the internet, a majority of people are like, yeah, this is not a great system.
No, it's not.
So
an
why do we?
amazing
So
system.
then let's just say, okay, well, let's just fix it then. Let's change it. Let's say that's not okay, and it's like, well, how? Well, I don't know, but I think the first step is not electing evil as the number one job of the country, even if it's a lesser of the two.
And I haven't.
And
decided.
it's not too late. It's not too
It's
late.
not too late. I haven't decided who I'm voting for yet, but I like the idea of why can't we still choose? Like, why can't we somehow put something
I
in
hate
place
that where
where we
it's
can
like-
still decide?
And it goes both ways too, because
Differently.
as I've been promoting this guy on my Twitter, people are like, well, you're just giving your vote to Trump or you're just giving your vote to Hillary, depending on who that person wants to win.
Yeah,
'Cause
right.
it's like
you're not.
There,
No.
Traditionally, and I'll say this. Traditionally, the third party candidate, the independent candidate, the Ross Perot's of the world have been a spoiler. That's what they've been termed. It's like, you're not going to get enough vote. There's no way. And back then that was true because you had to go knock on doors. You had to print flyers and you had to write in newspapers.
It was impossible.
We have the internet now.
Yeah.
We can make a turn on a dime. We can say, no, this is not right. And in 2 weeks, we're all aware of this very young, talented young CIA operative who's like James Bond. And I think he's right on a lot of things. I've been listening to a lot of the issues that he stands for. And, he is Mormon. And we've been accused of you're just voting for him because he's Mormon. He's actually, in an interview that I heard, and I want to personally talk to him about this, he said that he disagrees with some of the doctrine of the church. He disagrees with some of the leadership and some of the stances that they've taken on, LGBT issues with young people in the church. And so I'm like, for him to say that and also trying to win the Utah vote is pretty honest.
Very honest, yeah.
And very brave. And so I'm like, I'm not voting for him just because he's Mormon. I'm voting for him because I like his policies and because I know who he is. And that's a weird thing to say, but like, I grew up with this guy. I didn't grow up with this guy, but I grew up with 100 kids just like this guy. He's the goody two-shoes Mormon guy that was the smart dude. Daxon.
Something blue?
I told you not to get all over your teeth.
Yeah, right.
Smile for the camera. Smile. Cheese. Cheese, stick your tongue out.
Well, I mean,
but what I'm trying to say, he's just like Mitt Romney. These guys are honest. They're
Well, and you never know. Like, that's the big debate.
True.
It's like, who is
true.
Who's being honest? Is anybody?
But I'm saying, like, that's why I say I grew up with this kid, because when you're growing up in like Boy Scouts,
hold on,
and you're growing up in Young Men's, and you hang out with the same group of guys, like, for your whole, adolescence, because you're in church together. So a lot of these, these Mormon young men, they grow up serving the sacrament together. They go to scout camp together. They do mutual together. They pick up fast offerings together. You get to know each other. And when you're 12, 13, 14, 15, you know the kids that are really honest, because when you're at scout camp and you're trying to do a bunch of hood rat shiz, you know the 2 or 3 dudes who are like, I'm not doing that. We shouldn't do that. Why are you guys doing that? And they don't fall or succumb to the peer pressure of the group that's trying to do the naughty thing that they know they're not supposed to. And I remember as a kid not being that guy, because I was like, yeah, man, let's do this stuff. Let's mix it up a little bit. But there were kids that I knew growing up that would still stand up like, guys, we should not do that. I'm not doing that. I'm going back up and be like, you loser, blah, blah, blah. But that's the guy that Evan McMullen is. That's the guy I think he is, just from like the stuff that I've watched. And you don't get to be a CIA operative without being smart and very able. You don't work at Goldman Sachs. That's his financial, history. Whatever you want to say about Goldman Sachs, about them being like one of the, they're obviously a giant, horrible thing for our economy in different ways. But you don't get hired on there without being a pretty witty son of a gun. So just look at him. Just take a look.
Yeah,
and let's not settle for the lesser of two evils.
I guess it's hard too, because I feel like I don't want either Trump or Hillary just because of what I've seen and heard. But then it's like, I don't know very much about this guy yet either. So it's like, do we have time?
Yeah, it only takes like 6 hours on CNN, Facebook, Twitter, the Drudge Report. Just got to spend half your life on it.
I wish we all could just individually interview the candidates. Every American gets to sit down with the candidates and interview them and decide.
Any whoozle what's
who knows who's telling the truth? I feel like the media is like, they twist everything, and I don't know. Who knows? Pray about it.
Are we live? You guys send me some tweets. I'm going to look at the Twitter. Let's take some questions. Let's hear what you guys have to say. I've been blabbing plenty. I'd like to hear some dissenting arguments. Let's get up in this fight. Plenty claims of voter suppression during the Democratic primaries.
Well, thanks, Ava. She says I look beautiful today. I am wearing a new TRIXIN shirt. It's part of the Colette line. Do you like it?
TRIXIN.com. Check it out. Hey,
I love it. This is one of my favorite shirts.
Real quick, these fit looser, right? Don't you say?
See how cute?
Like, that was kind of a complaint. It has a thingy here.
See, that's why I like shirts that fit loose, but still baggy. Look flattering. You don't feel like...
We're going to go towards a looser fit at TRIXIN Clothing, because I've decided that here's how you pick what you want to wear as you're looking through your closet. Do I feel fat in that? 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 Nope. Yep. I like that one. That one. I don't care what. That's comfortable.
That's how I pick.
Yeah. So all of our sizings will be. Yeah, anyways, Colette's line is. What am I saying? I should shut up.
Our sizing will be a little bit different.
I was going to try to beat
my line is comfortable, and you should not feel fat in any
Anyways,
of it, so.
I just wanted to mention that, because I know that we've had a lot of people ask about that. Like, why is this? Because I think some of those bases we've got just fit a little too tight.
Okay,
Okay,
let's see.
we have any other questions here in the
About 1
Twitters?
million users on email per week. Is that what I'm seeing?
Oh, somebody's Googling the...
425 million count is from 2012 Gmail.
Here's a good question. Would you say that again?
I'm trying to read it. It's like weird.
It's a photo of a computer.
But there's like 500 million active users on emails.
Jeez.
I don't know if that's just Gmail or Gmail and Hotmail combined. And other ones.
Here's the other thing I'm saying is like I don't think we should make it all online, because then we'll lose some people that are going to the polls to vote.
Right.
And I think it's a great experience to go out to the schools and to like the post offices and the garages of volunteers and get this community vibe where everybody's out there voting. But there's a lot of people who just don't because they're busy. A lot of intelligent, young millennial type people who are, struggling to get their business off the ground or whatever, who are like, yeah, it's important to vote, blah, blah, blah. I'll tweet about it. But like, did you actually go out to the poll and do it? Maybe not. But would you do it on your phone in 2 seconds? Yeah.
But then the argument is like, if it mattered to you that much, you would make time to go to the poll.
Yeah. That's a great argument. But
like
there's still intelligent people who I think, just don't vote because they don't want to go out. A lot of people, if you want to admit it or not, like people don't like leaving their houses,
Or they work 12 hours.
Yeah, and they don't have time. It's like, I got off work and picked up the kid from soccer practice, and now what? Oh yeah, today's voting day. Oh, I'm exhausted. But
maybe the thing is there needs to be like a week.
You have a week
to vote, so you can schedule it in. I don't know.
Here's a question. Do you think voting should be required? Also, do you think election days should be national holidays? That's a great question concerning what we were just talking about.
The holiday thing, I agree with, because then it gives everybody a chance.
And that's why there's been voter suppression allegations, because why don't we make it easier for people to vote? It's like they do it on a Tuesday from like noon to 4. Like there are actually polling places that are accused of doing it during very inconvenient hours. And, then there's different polling officials who are offended by these allegations because they're in charge of their district and making sure that everything is, up and up. And sometimes it doesn't always happen that way. So I think we could just get a lot bigger turnout of intelligent, informed people that for all intents and purposes are just lazy or just, don't get to vote. They don't go do it.
They don't have a chance, or they don't take the chance.
I shouldn't call them lazy.
I don't know how. I
didn't vote. That's another thing. Like why I'm starting to be more vocal about this, because I'm like, doesn't this stuff matter? Like, isn't this stuff important? And shouldn't we take a more active role? And I never really have, but it's like, I feel like I never have because I honestly felt like it didn't matter. I honestly felt like it doesn't matter what your vote is. It doesn't. But
it does matter. Every voice
sometimes
matters,
to me,
because that's how they collectively combine.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, what if there's 100 people that think they don't matter, and because they didn't vote?
If it's a fair vote, then your vote matters. But I get scared, and I believe that the system is so corrupt that my vote will be negated by a fake vote that, they were bussing people around.
You could still
But it's
try.
like, how do we keep trying when the system's broken? Like, why don't we say, okay, hold on.
Because you gotta have
instead
faith
of
in
pouring
something.
water into this thing and just hoping for the best and it keeps dripping out, let's like fix the hole in the bottom.
I agree with that, but
and say enough's enough. Your vote does matter. Vote online, retweet stuff. Let's have a revolution and say we're done with the two-party system. We don't know exactly how to fix it, but we're not voting for either of you. So either give us some better options or give us $100 million.
I think,
or vote for Evan McMullen.
So in answer to the second part of the question, I don't think it should be required for people to vote, because I think it is a right. And I think if you don't take the time, you're not paying attention to the candidates, you don't know who you want, you can't just go in there and be like, I don't know, maybe Trump. Like, I don't think that's right either. Like, you can't just force people or I don't think people should have to vote. It is a right. It's something that's like a gift given to you. Like, you have the opportunity to choose, and maybe you think your vote doesn't matter, but if you're going to take that opportunity and let your voice be heard, then that's more important than not being heard. Like, I feel like you required. I mean, I don't want to be too one-sided, but it's like if you're going to sit here and complain about the policies and the president, but you didn't vote,
Yeah.
like vote.
That's where the cutoff is like, you don't have to vote. It's not required to vote, but you can't complain if you didn't vote.
I mean, you can, but is it really like, are
It's
you
not
really
fair.
trying?
No, it's not
Are you
fair.
really trying to change things if you're
Right.
not even going to go out and vote?
Right.
Like maybe your vote doesn't matter. Maybe let's say it doesn't count at all. Let's say it's totally rigged, but you tried, right? You're doing your best, you're following the system, and you want the best for your country and you have an idea of what that will be, then vote.
Get it, girl. Get it.
Do it. And I don't necessarily think you should just be like, well, I don't know, my mom's voting for so-and-so,
Yeah.
my dad's voting for so-and-so, so I will too. Like, get in there and get involved. And I'll be honest, I wasn't always involved. I wasn't always like,
Right.
it'd all of a sudden be the week before elections and I'm like, oh, cool. This is an exciting time in our country. Like, who should I vote for? Like, it is important to follow, like, a year before, follow what's happening, who's being, getting involved in the system and wanting to be president. Like, find that stuff out beforehand. Like, get involved. I'm not saying you're wrong if you don't, but it will help you.
One thing I do have to say, though, is props to anybody who runs for public office.
Ugh.
Like,
Be awful.
I think it would be.
It would be. It's such a hard, almost thankless job. It's difficult.
Because the old adage is definitely true where you're not going to please everybody. And when it comes to politics, these are important issues and it does matter. So with things that matter come a lot of emotions. So it's important that we talk about this stuff, but it's also important that we do it without fighting. And we also do it realizing that there's some bad players on both sides. Some people that make stuff up, some people who lie, some people who are purposely trying. I don't even have to say this is an allegation. They have recorded hidden video evidence. And whatever you want to say about WikiLeaks and hidden video stuff, you know what I've said about the future of a world where I believe we're going to live in, where all information is transparent.
You won't be able to hide
And so
who you
people are like, well, it's not fair that they stole that information. That is who those people are, though, because you see them saying the thing that we're all saying that's a bad thing. Like,
it's hard because it's like, I agree with you. I don't think it's right that people should be recorded without, like their voices being heard and then somebody shows the whole world. Like, I don't think that's right. But was it right that what he said? It's like, there's always like,
yeah, I'm just saying, look at both sides. And I feel like this election cycle, I'm really going to make a level-headed effort to be fair and balanced. But honestly, like, I try to make myself like, okay, pretend that you're voting for Hillary right now and just go in that mindset. Read everything on Twitter in that mindset. You like Hillary. She is well qualified. She is very smart. She has been doing this for a long time. Like, she gets stuff done. Like, think and read everything in that mindset. And then I'll switch it. And I'll be like, okay, Hillary lied about a lot of, like, now I'm Trump. And I'll do that. And I'll do a whole day like that where I'm switching back and forth. And you just start to see, like, both of them
got some problems.
Do not deserve to be the president. So why do we have to, as the American people in 2016, with the greatest computer technology ever, have to sit by and say, well, lesser of the two evils? No.
I don't know.
Get a backbone and let's say...
I don't want to run for president. I mean, hats off to anybody that has that. I don't know. And then it's like...
Don't fight, though. That's the most important thing. Like, I'm kind of using, like, get a backbone. I'm not calling people cowards and stuff. It's a scary thing. I don't want to talk about politics because I don't... there are crazies on both sides where it's like, wow. Some people just get fired up, like, so fast. You're like, that escalated quickly. Like, let's back up. Let's take a breath. And let's just look at it from another angle. Just for the fun of it. Yes. And then, but here's what I think about, so if we can try to just keep that tenor and that tone, it's not easy. Like I said, these are important things. Sorry, do I keep interrupting?
No, you're fine.
Are we done fighting about politics?
Were we really fighting? I mean, I don't want to fight.
I don't know.
Politics is always like such a sensitive subject, so you don't want to make anybody mad, but then, I mean, let's just talk about it.
What would
Just
you
open
change?
up.
Okay, here's a good question. What would you change if you had the chance to be a president for one day?
Oh my goodness.
Free burritos and taquitos. I don't know.
Oh my goodness, that's a really difficult question.
What
I
would you
think
change?
first of all, if I was a president for one day, even I'd probably hide behind my desk and cry for a minute, like,
What do I do?
this is so hard. I just want to be a mom in Idaho. I don't want to be president. And then after I got over it,
What hard policy changes would you
what
make?
would I change?
Dude, I'd do a lot more live streaming from the Oval Office. That's first policy change I'd make.
I would lead a very calm meditative session live on the internet, so we can all just calm down.
I'm reading your tweets right now. Thank you for tweeting us at When the Kids Go to Sleep. Don't forget, you can download this podcast for free on iTunes. How long have we been rolling on this?
I don't know. I'm still trying to think of a policy. I would.
Well,
Never mind.
maybe
Love
we
you
should take
guys.
one more question
One more question.
from the tweets. Well, you got to think of one thing that you would change, a serious policy change.
I'm really I'm like, my mind is racing with all the policies.
Do you think, let me ask you a few policy questions. Do you think that assisted suicide should be allowed? Do you think there should be centers like Jack Kevorkian centers where people who are like, you know what, I'm done with it all, but I don't want to have like the messy task of killing myself, and they can go to a place and have a doctor.
Oh, do you need to go potty?
Oh, run in there. Oh, way to
Gotta go.
avoid the question, Colette. Every time, yeah, sure, likely story. Your 2-year-old's potty training, I get it. I don't know. That's scary stuff. I think, I'll answer that question. I think for terminal people, I think that should be an option. For people that it's like the doctors are like, you barely have 3 weeks to go. Like, if you live 3 weeks, I think they should be able to choose their goodbye. But like, I don't think that people should be able to go and be like, I'm depressed. How much does it cost to kill me? You know, I don't know why I brought that policy change up. Anyways, Colette. Okay, politics. Like I said, let's all have level heads and realize that we are all in this together. One, we all live on this earth, so we kind of all have to just deal with each other. Because if we just keep fighting, that'll suck because we'll just keep shooting each other. And that doesn't feel good. I've only had dreams about it, but I just don't think that's a great outcome. So let's just try this love thing and see what happens. All right. See you guys soon. Thanks for watching When the Kids Go to Sleep. Yeah.